So welcome to the node.js package maintenance team meeting for January 20th, 2022. Before we get started on the issues that were tagged in the agenda, are there any announcements that people would like to make?
So I just wanted to mention the parse args package that we were all working on in the package.js org is in an attempt to make it easy to be a drop-in contribution to Node core. It's following the same primordials pattern that Node uses. It currently did that by copy pasting a file and modifying it slightly from Node core. I'm in the process. I've claimed the package name primordials, and I'm in the process of building a package that can be used for that use case that will be also robust in outside of Node core in the way the current one isn't, and also will work in older engines for those that want to maintain distant backwards compatibility. I'll make a PR once the package is available.
Okay, so I guess that there'll be a new package in the PKGS org, which is like the primordials one.
That was one of the things we could discuss. I've initially created it under my username. It's still a private repo because I'll make it public when it's ready. But I'd be happy to bounce it into the package.js org which would probably make sense, since theoretically someone should only use this package if they're intending the consumer to be migrated to Node core. There's much better approaches if you're not actually aiming for that. That sounds like a great plan if everyone's okay with it.
Seems like the right idea to me.
Cool.
I'm just taking a quick note here. Can be used to use primordials in packages that we hope to later pull into core, right?
Right. And I'll make a very clear note on the README of the primordials package that anything that isn't intended to be migrated into Node core should use, I'll list alternatives.
Right. Here's the other ways you can do this kind of thing. And
right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
My kind of what I'm envisioning happening is that the parse args package will be available, and yargs and commander and maybe npm and so on can build off of it. And then at some point Node will ship that with Node. And then the package itself can defer to the native implementation when present, and have the JavaScript one when not. And at that, in that way, you'd be able to build something that could support every Node version you wanted, but in all the modern Node versions would use the native parse args.
Right. Okay.
You could drop the package at some point in the future when you drop support for a Node version that lacked the native one.
Right. Okay, makes sense. Any other announcements before we move on to the issues? If not, okay. The next one that was tagged is number 503, which is updated requirements for landing PRs. I think I opened that. I might have put it. Did I put it on the agenda? Anyway, it is on the agenda. I guess that one we've got a number of approvals. I think it's just waiting for the time needed, and I don't know if there's anything actually to discuss there at this point. Probably not, unless somebody else knows of something. Okay, well, if not, let's move on to team membership audit. This is 497. This one we did open a while back, and I think at this point, yeah, so we basically said, okay, yeah, so we did open an issue, right? So 499 we opened, which was the please respond. That was open 28 days. So we said we'd give everybody 30 days to respond. At this point, there's been a number of responses. So I think, maybe by the next meeting, we can action the audit there. Anything else we should talk about that one? Okay, if not, Status and update for the next steps on PKGS Create. I don't think I've seen any updates on that. I don't know if anybody else has heard any.
I was going to try and start, but I've been caught up with some other stuff. That's my next thing to do. I think I've updated the docs on Wibby, landed some PRs in there, and I'll be turning my attention to that. Like you, we're very stretched. Only a certain amount of time for open source.
Yeah, no problem. It's there on the list. So I'm saying have it updated Wibby docs. So can move to this. Okay. And then the last one, which is like the supported list of modules to get support info. I don't think there's any update on that. And that takes us to the end of our agenda. Actually, pretty light agenda this week. Are there any things that people want to discuss and bring up before we close out?
Today I create a new issue about promo events in 2022. Maybe let's see on it.
Yeah, okay. So we can talk about that one. Do you want to just sort of lead us through that? You want to share your screen, or how do you think the best way to do that?
Oh, okay. Give me a few seconds. And here we are.
Perfect.
I suggest 3 items. Firstly, create article with such content as 5 or 6 main parts. Goals of our team, current status, tools and documents, I mean existed and in progress one, open questions and next steps, and last item, call to action to invite new members and to promote, review our solutions and new contributions. Then I think that we can do some status talk. I mean something like keynote on the roundtable with the same content with the article, maybe with slides, maybe with extra examples or some media content. And then roundtable. I think that it can be an online event with lead questions from community. And also I think that participants can be a few members, one or few members from our team, guys from supported packages, and also open source leaders. I think that 5, 6 participants will be good enough for the first time for dynamic and interesting discussion.
Yeah, I think for that, like for the roundtable, I'm thinking like that is potentially a good way to hear from more package maintainers, like what they're struggling with, what their problems are. And so like if we could get, if by having like a roundtable that this group led, that might be a way to get some of that if people are interested in showing up to it. I don't know, Jordan, do you think we'll round up other, like as a, you maintain a lot of packages. So do you think other people who do the same would be interested in showing up to a roundtable if we organize something like that?
In general terms, I would say yes. It remains unclear whether things will be settled down enough for enough people. Like that's a general thing for any in-person event
Sure.
scheduled in June, but like for the smaller subset of people that may be interested in such a roundtable, it might be even more tenuous. But yeah, if enough people could show up, I think there's definitely enough people out there who'd be interested.
I was thinking three though, that Pavel's suggestion was actually an online version of that.
Oh, well then, yeah, then that sounds
like
awesome.
a 1 hour, we get a certain number of people who are going to come and want to work on
it says online event
stuff here, but like I could see like just having a touch base with other leading maintainers to say, well, like, okay, we're working on what we think is important to package maintainers, but hearing from some other people in that thing could be another channel. So
yeah,
and maybe some of them that they might then say, oh, well, I should get involved with what you're doing. Or
yeah. So I think a lot of things Pavel says remote is good. However, I think people are really waiting for the non-remote thing to start up. I think, like I'm a little jaded from like many video calls as many people are like, and so this is what we need to do. I would really like for it to be in person. I see he's done it. I'd like to get back, but we have to face the reality. The virus is in charge and we're not.
Yeah. I think OpenJS world, there's going to be a collaborator summit. So we should totally plan for, a package maintenance session or two where we can do things. I'd still lean towards like this roundtable where, we try and invite 3 or 4 maintainers and one of us or 2 of us moderates sort of a, hey, let's chat at this, the state of the events, what's going on, what are our biggest challenges. That would be interesting to me. Like, it's not so much like even if nobody watched it, I'd still be interested to hear and be in that discussion, if you know what I mean.
Yep. That's very true. There are some pretty big things coming down the pipeline. I mean, I'm just off the top of my head, one of my things is ES modules and the changes required for testing and mocking and all that sort of stuff. It's eventually going to come where everyone has this little blink of, no, I'm not using them just yet. Oh, I have to use them. It's coming, and that is quite a big one, and that will require quite a lot of changes by people if they wish to change, to move forwards. I don't know. It's just one of the things that strikes me as quite a big drive of change and maintenance requirements.
It actually made me think of, like, in terms of these roundtables, like there's different audiences too, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's the maintainers, and then there's like, I think what you were reflecting a little bit is also like corporate use, or like they like more not the people building the modules, but the people consuming the modules. And there's a roundtable focused on those people might also make sense, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's both. Yeah, it is both.
And like, so doing one of those a quarter,
that's a good goal. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's actually a good goal. One of those a quarter, and just see who we can engage.
Right.
And it also, as you said, it's kind of self-documents where we are, because it makes us think.
Yeah, like it'd be good for us, helps us think, helps us learn. And like, if people watch, that's good. So it feeds into the promotion of the work the team's doing. But even if it was just us, it would be interesting, right? So it's a kind of neat goal from that perspective.
I would almost want to phrase it more as like discussing what's stopping people from moving their applications to native ES modules, because that's a very long list of reasons that don't have, many of which don't have solutions. But surfacing those and collecting use cases for those, and raising awareness that these are common issues might be helpful. There's very few people that can move to ES modules right now. It's simply not tenable without a bunch of hacks and workarounds. It should be tenable. It should be easy. But that seems like like a better thrust for it for me, because it would also be easy to hop on the trendiness bandwagon and be like, you know, everyone should be using ES modules right now, but it's just not practical for most people.
It's beyond their capabilities for a lot of and business.
Well, and there's a lot of things that still beyond Node's capabilities. Like
that's actually what I was thinking. Like, we're doing these next 10 mini summits to like identify like what are the key things that the project needs to do to be successful going forward. I could see one of those mini summits like ES6 being the topic, right? And you could say, well, we've got an ES6 implementation, but like, if that's not the end of it, and there's like these 5 key things that have to happen, that would be a great place to surface those to say, you know, if nothing else, you know, writing down somewhere in the project that like we understand these are 5 key things. So if people are interested in ES6, now I know there's actually a fairly active group, so maybe the ES6 team is already on top of all those, but
it's one of the topics. Yeah. It's like, this is something I'm looking at, and
certainly I know that like some of there's a few key things. I think back to the specific thing here, like, so it's maybe like a roundtable series would be an interesting.
That would be good. Yeah.
You know, 1 a quarter. Yeah. And we could have like, you know, just off the top of my head, a couple of things are like, you know, a maintainers summit, a roundtable, a consumers roundtable, and then whatever other topics, like maybe an ES6 roundtable if it's not the mini summit or something, but like, you know, different topics would then be driven sort of by that.
Yep. I'll join in with you, Pavel. Let's we just need to attract a few more people to get a roundtable together.
I think, so like if I don't know if you're volunteering to try and sort of pull that series together or pull one of those together.
Yeah.
But
I'll work with Pavel.
Okay. Because I think, like if, you know, we can help with whatever's needed to, you know, make that a node package maintenance team event thing. But that sounds good. And the article, I think you're, you know, writing an article that's kind of like, hey, here's like a refresher on our goals. We could probably actually pull some of that from the existing docs, where we're at, and, you know, highlighting the key things we're working on are kind of, it definitely would be, it's time to do something like that for sure.
It is, yeah. I think, like a lot of people, we had a bit of a lull in the middle of the COVID. I think everybody did. It was only natural. I'm just hoping the Austin thing can happen.
I'm still hopeful, but we'll see. I'm less hopeful, I guess, than I was, you know, early December. But I'm still hoping things can change, like in a couple months, to the point where that'll be okay. But, you know, as you said, we're not in control. We'll see.
Yeah, my main sticking point is I'm waiting for the 2 to 5 year olds to be approved for the vaccines. So.
Yeah, you don't want to like go isolate somewhere else for 2 weeks after you go home. Your wife wouldn't.
Ideally, it's a family vacation for me, so I want to be able to bring them with me.
Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking though, especially when you have little kids, if you said to your significant other, oh, by the way, not only am I going to be away for a week, but the 2 weeks afterwards, I can't actually help look after the kids. I know how that would have gone over for me.
Yeah, so. That's unlikely to fly.
No, exactly. So I guess like next steps here, you know, so Glenn, do you want to get together with Pavel one-on-one or something?
Yeah, and I'll reach out to Pavel. I'll set up a Zoom call actually. So you see my email on the documents, Pavel, and so shoot me an email, Pavel. So I have your email, and we're getting together. Yep.
Sure.
Because I think that'll be an interesting roundtable. It'll be real. I think those will be really interesting. And in terms of the article, you know, again, I guess like the next step is just somebody to start to put things together. even like often what we do is we can create a document like a Google Doc, share it in an issue, and somebody puts in the sections, and then we start to fill in different sections. Maybe in the next meeting we can talk about like volunteers for the different sections, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Maybe we should split these two activities into separate issues.
Yeah, I think like a separate issue to coordinate the article definitely makes sense. And the roundtable series, yeah, I think all three of them really like because the status talk, I assume you mean it's like that's a talk we proposed to OpenJS World, for example. Okay, yeah, no, I think an issue for each of those makes a lot of sense for sure. So is that something you'll go ahead and do?
I will start kicking this off. I'll contact Pavel. Pavel's got my email from the documents. If I click on Pavel's one, I think.
Like if Pavel wants to go and create those three issues, he could probably do that.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I create three separate issues today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and like maybe for the article, if you have cycles, pasting a link to a Google Doc, where then we could start to edit, or even like next time we get together, we could spend some time working on it too. So.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And then Glenn will talk to you directly on some of
Yep.
the other roundtable. How do we get that going? And that sounds
Excellent.
good.
Excellent.
Okay. Any other things we want to chat about this week before we close out? And just before we do that, I want to make sure I have everybody in the attendee list here.
So if we could stay on the call after you close the YouTube link down, I just have a quick word with you, Michael.
Sure. Sorry, I'm just I think I've got everybody, and let me see. I'm going to try and see if I can get the link. Copy streaming. There we go. It saves me one. Yes, perfect. Okay. Yeah.